levy committee's website, there was this little table and it had some assumptions at the top listed, and then it had the first year interest listed, or last year interest, and they had actually put a total line and added those two numbers up. So I reached out to Dan Shaw. I said, hey, what happened to the other 36 years as far as our total interest? And is that average annual interest, is it reasonable? And after I had asked him and got a response, then that table, all that, the interest figures actually were pulled off. This is a quote from the email from Dan. It said, we will not know average interest or total interest costs until we issue the debt. And that's fair, because once those bonds are issued, then you get the market value for the bond. But he did say the annual average they published, the $563,500, is a fair estimate that's subject to a very wide margin of error. We will reach out to the levy committee to help clarify the numbers on their website. So it was taken down. But if you do the math on that, $500,000 for 38 years is roughly $21 million. And you can go out. So now on the levy site, currently, because all the other information has been pulled down, now it says the interest rates will be fixed and determined after the levy passes and the bonds are sold. That's fair, that's how it works. Once the bond levy is approved by the voters, the bond underwriters will package the bonds for sale at laddered fixed interest rates and maturities. That's also fair because they want to try to get the lowest interest rate possible for us. We will not know the exact amount of interest until after the bond levy is approved and the bonds sold to investors. The district will make principal and interest payments semi-annually. So again, I like numbers too. I have an accounting degree and I like to look at stuff like that. So if you look at just bond interest rates and you plug in a 2% to a 5%, the range is $11 million to $34 million in interest. So what exactly does that look like if we graph it? The state, so for a total project cost of $64.7 million, the state's going to pay $34.3 million. That's the top bar. Then there's the cash that Chad was talking about from our permanent improvement fund. It's $2.9 million. The bonds principal is the first part, and this local share is $27.5 million. And then I just threw in $20 million. Just, so that could go up or down, but it kind of gives you a little perspective. They say 53%, but really because that's debt, the community is incurring, we're going to be spending more to include that interest. And there are other concerns that come up that people talk about. They're on the website. Asbestos. Get stuck on asbestos. In January 2017, Dayton Environmental Testing did their periodic surveillance report for asbestos, and all 4 buildings said there were no changes in the condition of ASBM, which that stands for asbestos containing building materials, and that there were no recommendations to remove or abate the ACBM. These reports have now been posted on the Valley View website. For the primary, here's a picture of the report. For the primary school, no changes, no recommendations. The intermediate school, no changes, no recommendations. The junior high, no changes, no recommendations. And the high school, the building we're in right now, no changes, no recommendations. But again, the state, per their assessment cost guideline, there's a line in there and it says OFCC policy is to remove all hazardous materials. And if you look at the facility assessment for this building for the high school, there's a line item in there to remove the zonalite insulation in the block walls. And that the price for that in that renovation cost is roughly $2.5 million. And then after they abate it, they have to replace the brick, and that's another $1.3 million. So your total, you're looking at almost $4 million to abate that the asbestos, the zonalite insulation in the exterior walls of this building. Zonalite, if you're not familiar with asbestos, it's just a trademark name, but it was a product that was sold for attic insulation between the 1940s and the 1990s, and it consists of the naturally occurring mineral vermiculite, and it was used for decades in American homes. If you go out to the EPA's website, and it says if you have vermiculite insulation, you should assume the vermiculite contains asbestos and do not disturb it, exclamation point. And their first bullet for recommendations is to leave vermiculite insulation undisturbed in your attic or in your walls. Now, if they were to do renovation and they were to uncover stuff, then yes, some of that asbestos needs to be abated. But if you're not doing anything to an exterior wall, you can just leave it be. It's best just leave it undisturbed. Another thing that showed up on the levy site, the website, air quality, there was a statement, does the air in your home make you sick? And then just read through. In connection with the HVAC concerns, the air quality in all buildings is well below optimal and safe for our students. Today, most modernized buildings have an air handling system to protect against allergens, bacteria, molds, carbon monoxide, radon. We have many staff and students who have symptoms of illness while in the buildings but are not afflicted with the same symptoms when outside of the buildings. Just recently, teachers and staff in neighboring schools have begun to speak up about asbestos contamination, mold, and high levels of carbon dioxide inside their classrooms, and how it has affected their health and the inability of students to learn. This was pulled down from the levy website. So in January, it's up on the website, and then March 16th, it gets removed. And we have printouts, like, you know, with some screen captures. And just so people know, because there were concerns about the third floor in the junior high, I've talked to teachers. There was a proactive testing that was in response to those faculty air quality concerns. And try to blow this up a little bit more. If you look, I'll just read it. The test results, and this was posted on the Valley View website, it says the types and concentrations of contaminants indoors should be similar and not significantly higher than outdoors, respectively. So then it says all the counts from the testing indicated significantly lower concentrations in similar types indoors versus outdoors. This represents a normal indoor environment with no concerns discovered or noted. It goes on to read then in this, last paragraph, the results did show an elevated level of epithelial skin cells, as well as cellulose fibers, which can commonly come from paper products and building materials, but this is not unusual in a school environment. And they recommend cleaning practices which incorporate HEPA vacuum cleaners and HEPA air filters. So you can go out there, it's now on the Valley View website. Another thing is air conditioning. People want to be comfortable. On the levy committee website, it says for all our buildings, the existing heating and cooling systems cost us unnecessary dollars each year. There's virtually no way to predict the mounting costs of utilities on an annual basis due to the inability to foresee the costly and unique problems that arise in each building each year. And just something that we need to think about, if we choose to air condition the existing buildings or in the new buildings, right now, the operating expense, we're only paying for air conditioning in one building. So the operating expenses will go up when you start to pay for that cooling in the other buildings. So we just need to consider that as this next operating levy runs our way. Also says modernized systems in new buildings would allow the district to operate more efficiently, effectively, and predictably when it comes to energy costs. And I will say, this is my experience working with architects, yes, the new systems are more sophisticated and they will probably run more efficiently, but they are more sophisticated, and so the maintenance on those pieces of equipment are more complicated. And if you look at the operating and maintenance dashboard at the high school, which is the newest building, they're higher than what they are in the older buildings. A local school just recently replaced 2 chiller systems, and they were priced at $170,000 each at the same time. 2 went out at the same time, and those were in 2 10-year-old buildings. There's another local school that spent $96,000 to replace a chiller in a 13-year-old building. So if we get these new systems, we have that, we're paying on it, and in 10 years, 10 to 15 years, we could be replacing those same exact systems. We just need to be aware of that. You know, another thing, just in talking to architects, if the quality of the floors, those terrazzo floors, have been in these schools forever. It's a high quality material. It's basically mosaic flooring that consists of small pieces of marble and granite, and it's mixed together in mortar, and it's given a high polish. They're pretty indestructible. But that assessment cost guideline, the states, you know, they're saying the terrazzo floor repair exceeds 300 square feet. That's a 30-foot by 10-foot room. Just that area, if that's bad, then we need to budget for vinyl enhanced tile flooring or carpet instead. And so you gotta think the material that is not gonna last as long. If you look at the life cycle for a terrazzo floor versus a 10 to 15 year vinyl tile or carpet, it's gonna need to be replaced. So again, 38 years, we might be replacing the flooring that's being built or renovated. There's also this other bucket of contingency money, you hear this, because the state only pays for block buildings. So is Valley View gonna upgrade to brick? The state will only pay for flat roofs. What's Valley View gonna get? The state will only pay for a high school gym large enough for the building's students and staff, which is projected at 646 seats. This is about half of what we currently see. So when you think of varsity basketball games, we're gonna have to upgrade to get more seating. The state won't pay for an auditorium. Does Valley View want an auditorium? And how much will the water and the sewer line of the new 7 through 12 building cost? A water line needs to be run. So if you go out to the Valley View website, I have it down here, but it just says the state of Ohio will co-fund the work on the site of the new junior high and high school. The contingency fund can cover the cost of sanitary and water if the district has to pay for all the costs. Also, we will partner with Farmersville to work out all those details. So there's a lot of things that need to come from that contingency fund, and we just need to make sure that what's available and all these extra things that we may want, that money is there to be able to do that. So to me, I want to know all the options. Okay, I'm not convinced by one assessment, one firm doing one assessment and saying, okay, this is it. When a budget hasn't been set, and it's just kind of like, just tell us what we need, and they run numbers through a boilerplate thing. There's been confusion about this. The OFCC will pay for renovation. Based on community input, districts may choose to retain and renovate historic structure that is assessed at over 2/3. OSFC will cover this expense up to 100% of the cost to construct a new facility. Any expense over that amount is solely funded by the school district. So anything above the cost for that new building would come to the local share. But again, what are the renovation costs? And what are we paying when we say renovate to be able to use those OFCC funds? The district, and in my correspondence with Rick Savers, the district can apply for a waiver to renovate, and OFCC will consider the request. OFCC also has segmented projects, because I was like, man, this is a lot for our community. We're rural. Can we do this in pieces and parts? And yes, they actually have what they refer to as segmented projects. The minimum size for a segment is one building. Again, if you use OFCC funds, you have to follow the Ohio Schools Design Manual. Percentage of funding and rules regarding cap on renovation costs remain in place. So they're segmented projects. He also mentioned this thing about renovate versus refurbish. And I'll read it. It says, it should also be noted that the renovation of a building is not the same thing as refurbishing a structure. In addition to upgrading finishes such as paint, lights, floor, etc., renovating an existing structure to the requirements of current educational programming almost always means the reconfiguration of the inside of the building, moving walls, redesigning floor plans, and other such requirements. Those requirements can have significant costs and means that it is likely the district will take on a higher burden of the cost of the project. If you look at these terms that are thrown out in design and construction, to remodel is to alter the structure of, or to remake. Renovate is to restore to a former better state, as in cleaning, repairing, or rebuilding. Refurbish is to repair and make improvements to something such as a building. To maintain, that word came up, to keep in an existing state as of repair, efficiency, or validity, preserve from failure or decline, to keep something in good condition by making repairs, correcting problems. So OFCC gives us costs to renovate, where we would most likely probably be altering the structure and the walls. This was one assessment from using per the OSDM. To me, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of priority, or there wasn't a budget really placed. We need to think a lot about what are we doing to maintain, maybe to refurbish and improve things like ADA accessibility. Those things need to happen. There's also, those assessment reports, when they give those costs to renovate, there's a lot of things in there, good condition, good condition, good condition, and then there's a line item to replace it. So, another option would be to give this out to competitive bids and let maybe 2 or 3 engineering and architecture firms really give a custom analysis. I worked for 24 years in an engineering and architecture firm, and I can tell you the creative thinking and the problem solving that those guys and those women did, because they were on tight budgets. Clients wouldn't come to us and say, just do whatever. There's budgets, resources are limited, and that's what they do. That's what their gifts and their talents are. So, I'm interested in, gosh, what else is out there? But really, we have to be able to prioritize too, because we can't always fix everything at one time. And just so people are aware, I thought this was interesting, the latest report from the Ohio Department of Education, our district profile report, our median household income is $37,399. Our average household income is $56,884. I was surprised by that.